Just got some new parts in the mail, some more upgrades, motor fan, some shocks off of a Typhoon 6S. Got the new drive shaft with a center bearing mount. I bought this truck used and it looks like a rock had gotten into the drive shaft and damn near ground it right through. I'm gonna put these parts on and see how they look. Here's the old drive shaft. It was pretty tore up by that rock there versus you can see on the new one. So I'm glad I'm taking that out. I don't think that would have held up for very long. Here is the part number for that center drive shaft support. I couldn't find any videos online about how to install it, so I kind of zoomed in on some other videos and I could see that it goes on this fourth hole if you count that half one, and it goes in right there. Alright, so this bearing slides on to this little notch right there, and then that rubber O-ring that comes with it butts in behind it. And then that attaches with a screw. It kind of just puts pressure on that hex there and it stays in there. It's kind of tough to get started with just using a crappy Allen wrench, but I got her. Alright, there it is installed. You can see on the directions that it does go in on that fourth spot from the back there. So I got the fan mounted on the heatsink, and then you gotta fish this wire right down along the side there and through that rubber little grommet, and then it goes into spot number 3, which is that one you can see right there. There it is plugged in. You just kind of tuck the wires in and now I gotta put it back together. Got it all hooked up and working. The heat shrink that came with it was pretty much garbage. If you have your own, I would use that instead. I had to do some electrical taping because it just didn't want to seal. So hopefully it holds together. Now I'm gonna put them shiny new shocks on. I bent this one. And this one's leaking. So them are coming off. So with these shocks off of the Typhoon 6S, the hole on the top is much bigger than the factory. So what I ended up doing is finding some aerator tubing and using the old inserts off of the shocks that I guess it's a spacer that was in the factory ones, and that ends up fitting perfect in there with that 1/4 inch airline. So that's what you're gonna have to do if you wanna throw these bad boys on there. You gotta find something that's gonna wrap that and so it won't wiggle. There, they got that top screw in. That is the longer screw. And I also took this washer off of the old shock and I'm gonna use that on the Typhoon shock on the bottom mount, just to kind of keep that screw off of that bushing in there. And this one, the screw does fit. There's no wiggle. So the only mod you gotta do is put some tubing around that top one with the factory spacer in there. Alright, so I had some issues with the shock on the bottom hitting the drive shaft, so I used the spacer that goes into the top there that came factory with it and put it in there. I'm gonna probably have to pick up a longer screw for that, but for right now it's working. So that's the problem I ran into on bottom there, but see, we'll have to space that out if you want to use these style shocks. There's the fronts mounted on. They look pretty sweet. So now we'll start on the back. There's one of the rears in. It actually ended up clearing the drive shaft, so I didn't have to put a spacer in there. And do the other side. Alright, there they are, all installed. A little over review of these tires. They're quite a bit smaller, 3/4 of an inch smaller than the factory tires. So they drop the car down quite a bit. They lower the top speed. They handle great. They drift kind of okay, but they're not going to work out for me. I think I'm going to put them on my Traxxas Slash 4x4, and I've got some other tires that are on back order apparently, so I might have to get a set of factory tires to run on until these back ordered ones come in, but I'll keep it updated.